Go ahead online and take a look at the destruction symbol. It's kind of unique. It almost looks like a hand that's kind of got flames on it. That's what it looks like to me anyway. This book that's on the table, of course, is an alteration book, which I don't know about you, but I could definitely use because I could totally alter some things around me in everyday life. It would be great. Yeah, especially this one. The joke was to make it into a transmute book because I don't know about you, but I have plenty of rocks in my backyard, and I'd love to turn them into something special. So go ahead and do that. Take a break, get a soda, whatever you have to do. I'm going to go get those books, and I'll be right back. All right. Here are my books. I'm going to grab myself a soda here, too, in a moment. Let me see. Oh, this is my last soda in a long time, so here's to you guys, because I'm starting my diet tomorrow, and I'm not too excited about it. I am and I'm not. And anyway, also when I was in the fridge, I grabbed this out, totally random, but I guess this is a kind of like they call it the Aztec pear. I think it's called chayote. I don't know, but anyway, we live in an area of Indiana that has all kinds of fresh produce all the time. It comes in from Latin countries. And it looks strange, but it's got like a slightly sweet flavor to it. It's really delicious, and it also kind of reminds me of something that would be found in Skyrim, like something they grow in one of the farms. But if you ever want to replace a potato in your dish, oh man, it's so good. Kind of random, I know, but I just thought I'd show you since it was in my fridge. Anyway, I'll put this over here, and apparently don't call it coyote. It's not coyote, it's chayote or something like that, but I made the mistake of calling it coyote and telling everyone I was bringing coyote to a party, and no one knew what the hell I was talking about. So, heads up, don't do that. Don't be me. Okay, so I have my books over here. Let me clean up my mess a little bit. Put that to the side here. I'm just going to show you the book real quick before I actually start on the other spell components. Now, I got a variety of these different books here. Like I said, I got these at Michael's. They were on sale. Now, when I got them, they were like 40 or 50% off or something. They usually don't run that good of a deal. So maybe you might want to look on Amazon. It's pretty neat, though, because they do have this, it's invisible, but it's a little magnetic thing right here. You can see it kind of clicks a little bit. It's pretty neat because it stays closed on its own, so you turn it upside down. And it's great because you can use it as a storage place. You can use it as a false safe, although I wouldn't put anything special in it. As you can see here, there's a variety of different designs. It's kind of, in a way, sad because the designs themselves are really nice. I'm a graphic artist, so I actually really enjoy the designs on here. But guess what? Skyrim's super better, way, way better. So we're going to be making Skyrim books out of all of these. Ta-da! All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these to the side. Now we're going to work on, how about our hanging moss? Probably shouldn't have washed my hands. I probably should have figured out, or figured on using the rest of the dough to make my bear claws before I clean myself up, but I guess this works too. So we have this here, and like I said, it's just a little piece of fake foliage. You can use just about anything you need to that kind of looks a little, it should look a little janky. It shouldn't look really nice. You actually go for something crappy. To be honest, find something that kind of looks crappy, and then that will probably work best for the hanging moss. Okay, and the only thing is, though, make sure that it stays on. Sometimes you buy them and they're crappy, or you get them from a thrift store and it looks nice, you know, something you're going to use for a craft, and you take it home and falls apart. So kind of check the joints on it when you're buying it. See, this one just kind of fell off a piece there. And I'm going to get a paper plate. If you have paper plates, terrific. I think they're great for crafting. You can use them for a palette when you're mixing paints. I'm actually going to get one out in a moment here. And we're going to also use that to kind of paint with, and we're going to use that to kind of dust our coarse turf. Okay, so right now you're going to go ahead and get that paper plate. You're going to make sure your water's ready. You're going to make sure your brushes are ready. Go ahead and get a brush that's kind of in between size. We're not going to look for these cool coarse ones for the book yet. Not using those. We are going to use probably a thicker one, so maybe like a medium thickness, kind of like this one. You can kind of see the brush right there. Pretty cool. Okay, so let me grab those paper plates. Luckily I have them right next to me. Okay, got a big stack of them right there. And since I'm using my dough, also I don't want it to get, you know, all hard and ruined. I mean, it could use a little bit of thickening, but that's fine. Normally we wouldn't want it to sit out for long. So I'm going to go ahead and actually stick one of those in there, so multi-purpose, right? You can use that one to paint on later on, so not waste it. Unless you don't give a crap about Mother Earth and you're a jerk. I'm just kidding. Okay, she says that she uses paper plates, but I can just look. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get out our green, if you have a green. If not, don't worry about it, because you can make it green. So hopefully you know how to make it green. you did go to elementary school. If not, take some time to look up your color wheels. I'm going to go ahead and use this flat roll green. I don't know. Phonics is a bitch, right? So it's kind of got a teal feel to it. Take a look at that there. Okay, and then I have some bright yellow over here I'm going to add. You're saying, well, this moss is kind of a dirty green, right? That's true. It is kind of a dirty green. So I'm going to take a little bit of this white right here. And when you're mixing colors, green and red are actually opposite on the color wheel. So when you take a look at them, you know, they play against each other really well. That's why they're used for, you know, well, playing against each other in design. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of red and mix it into our green. That kind of makes it muddy colored. We don't ever want to really use black if you don't have to, unless we're trying to dirty something up, scuff it up. Because in nature, black is not really found in colors. Everything's a reflection of something around it. So to get like a true color, we're going to try to use that most of the time. I'm going to kind of limit the amount of black that we use on things if possible. I might throw it out the window at some point. I'm a little wacky when it comes to crafts, who knows. Okay, so move this to the side. Moving our palette right here. And now I have my hanging moss, right? I kind of like this dusty color that's on here. It's kind of like a sickly green, kind of like a moss color. Not quite like a bright emerald, you know, but it like kind of gross, like it might be seaweed. So we like that. I'm going to leave that be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a little bit here of this green, and I'm going to test it. I'm going to use a little bit of this red here. Okay, and I'm going to kind of make a dirtier kind of, yeah, see how that's kind of thickening up, and it's getting a little bit darker there. You can kind of see. Okay, now that's pretty, but it's too healthy. It's healthy looking. So I'm going to add a little bit of red, a little bit more red. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow and just a little bit of white to lighten it up. Okay? So, there we go. And that's starting to look a little sickly. That's starting to match the color of moss a little bit more. If you can see that. Not sure how great the color is showing up on here, but to me it looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hold down our element here. This little nasty looking thrift store piece of foliage we got, plastic. And see, it looks kind of spidey. It's starting to look like the moss in the game. We might not actually have to use this coarse turf. We'll throw a little bit on there just to see. Now that I know the color I want and the consistency of the hue, I'm going to go ahead and add some more of this paint in. So actually, I'm just going to slop it all in there at this point. It's a little bit brighter than I want. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and add this red in there. Still not thick enough. It's too bright. I don't want that brightness. I want kind of a dingy black color because it's moss. It's not beautiful green foliage. It's not meant to be a like wonderful Skyrim wedding. Let's see here. Okay, that's a little bit darker and a little bit brighter in hue still. So I'm going to dirty it up with a little bit of white. What I mean by dirty it up, just kind of like make that not as saturated in color. I don't want it as bright, as vibrant. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and there we go. It's pretty close. It's a little bit brighter than the other color, but it's close enough. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and same thing. We're going to stamp this color down on there. And we actually don't want it to dry too quickly because we're going to be using that coarse turf on it. Once again, donated by Wolf. Thank you, Wolf. That was really awesome of you. I use this stuff all the time. Okay, and keep stamping that color in there. Go ahead. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. Acrylic paint's not the end of the world. Oil paint's son of a gun to get off. But acrylic paint peels off generally pretty well, unless you have really nice nails. If you have really nice nails, I suggest that you just either not do crafts and just keep being a dime piece and perfect all the time that you are, or I suggest going and getting yourself some gloves because they will just destroy your nails. It'll stick to it in weird places and crevices. If you have a really cute design, it'll mess it up. Like I had this really cute nail thing going on last week that kind of looked Doctor Who inspired. I was super psyched about it. Everybody's like, oh, that's the coolest nails I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, no, pretty awesome. And then I went and did this alteration book and totally jacked it up. So make sure you do that. Cover it up, maybe. Now if you take a look here, it's starting to get that kind of covered look there. It almost looks cactusy because it's spiky at the moment. But in the moment we're going to add that coarse turf, I think that'll kind of give it that fluffy, kind of weird look that moss has in the game. Okay, so keep on adding that in, stamping that in. Right now we are at 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on our giant toe. That we started at 17 minutes, so it's cooking real well. We're going to take a look at it in a minute. I'll bring it over so we can see what it looks like and throw it back in if need be. I think we'll probably have this done by the time we're ready to throw in our bear claws, which will be right after this. And the potion that I'm showing you how to make, ironically, is one of the more valuable potions in the game. I believe it's worth 845 points. I think, if I remember correctly, it regenerates health, helps with two-handed, a couple other things, but it's one of the ones I use all the time. I just can't think of the exact parts of the spell at the moment. So those of you at home who are following along, don't forget if you don't have the things to do this, or you didn't get the spell list, so wouldn't that be awesome? You didn't get the components list to make this in time with me tonight. Don't worry about it. You can just replay the video, get stuff yourself. Please feel free to share this with friends, family. It's fun. It's an easy way to spend the night doing something you like, and it makes a really fun party, kind of like novelty thing. People come over to your house, they're like, oh my gosh, is that a novel, or is that a Skyrim book? And you can be like, yeah, sure is. I'm a wizard. Well, mage. So I kind of gave up trying to get this done with the brush because I'm running out of paint. I don't mind getting dirty. And it looks like we're getting pretty close here. Actually, I don't even mind a little bit of this kind of showing color-wise because, like I said, everything in nature is not the same color. So that's fine with me. Got a little bit of that orange still showing. We got a little bit of that sickly kind of green color still going on here. Now, I am going to want to make sure I clean my hands as good as I can before I start messing with the bear claws or anything else. For two reasons. I don't want color already on my dough. And, just because it's difficult to paint over. And second, I don't want color on there because it's plastic. Acrylic, obviously, is plastic. So it's going to make a horrible smell if it gets on there. And a little bit's probably not the end of the world, but